In this video series, I'm documenting my journey from $0 to $100,000 in gross profit. After landing in Michigan with absolutely nothing and being homeless for 2 months, I worked my way up to an epic cargo van and a room in an apartment. Now I started a handyman business, and I'm documenting my journey from $0 within the business to $100,000 in gross profit. Let's get into what I did this week to grow the business. Well, obviously I have an apartment, a room in an apartment. I've got my bed there. I have, my wallet, my ID, everything there. And then my study set up. And then I built all of this. Actually, I didn't build the trash can or the clothes setup, but I don't know what all I did. But a lot of the possessions that I have now were acquired in my last series where I went homeless for 2 months. But that's what's going on here. This desk setup, I'm gonna have probably hundreds of hours sitting here studying. Next, I'll go show you the van. So here is the van. I picked it up for $2,000. How I earned the money, again, go back to the series where I went homeless for 2 months. I got all the money from there. It's a little dark, but basically, in the past few weeks, I think I've only had the van maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I built out all these tools, kind of collected them, got some for free from customers that I've worked with, like pulling weeds. And then, so there's a ton of work to be done, but I figured take stock and show you guys what I'm starting with and work from there. Yeah, so that's the van. That's the van setup. Taking stock of the rest of my assets, I have about $500, like $200 in my Cash App, $300 in my Chase bank account. And then the other thing I have is I have somewhat of a client base built from when I originally started the project. I was pulling weeds for people as like my first business. And I have a contact list and a few people that want handyman repairs from that. So that's what I'm working with, about $500, a van, a study setup, an apartment, and then a few existing clients. I want to actually register my LLC and get that process going. As far as starting the business, pick a name, which I have a name in mind, and I looked into its availability. There is another business that is registered under the name I want to use, but the other business is out of good standing, which means they haven't been filing their yearly reports. Luckily for me, that means that their name is up for grabs. After you've been in out of good standing for more than 60 days, another entity can use your business name. So I can use the name I have in mind, which is great. There's no state level trademark. There's no federal level trademark. So I will get those eventually as I get the money. The other thing I can't do, since I am under 18 as of now, I can't act as the registered agent for my LLC. So I needed to outsource that to just an online company. It was $50, and they're going to act as my registered agent. Very common thing. But I was hoping to avoid that fee, but you just have to be over 18 to be a registered agent. So I didn't get the whole process done, but I did see you can pay for expedited filing. So I can file in 24 to 48 hours for an additional $50, which would, on top of the original $50 filing fee, I believe. I don't know if I'll end up paying for the expedited. I'm not expecting to make a ton of money this month, so it might be worth just waiting. But the other thing I need to do is I need to put together an operating agreement. It's not required, but from what I read online, it can be a good idea. I need to look into what that actually means more. And then besides for that, I should be good to actually register as a business. So it's already 11:19, so I'm probably not going to finish this tonight. But tomorrow, I will get the business registered officially, which will be sweet. And then I'll start working on putting the pieces together for insurance, which is annoying because I just moved here from Montana. So I have to get my Michigan license. To get my Michigan license, I need my birth certificate, which is on the way from Montana as we speak. But there's a bunch of several documents that you need to bring to get your Michigan license. But as soon as I have my Michigan license and I'm registered as an LLC, I can get insurance going. So that's sweet. I'm very excited for that. Yeah, I think that's just tomorrow's play. Alright, it is officially day 2. I got like 95% of my LLC set up. I've been doing a lot of, like, instead of just trying to get it set up, I'm trying to learn several of the different legal and basically how it's all put together and how it works together. Because if I'm gonna do a lot of business in the future, I'm gonna want to understand why all the pieces come together the way they do and how they function. Right now I am on the way to hit a landscape kind of / gardening job for a client that I've worked with for a couple times before this. Not exactly handyman repairs, but it'll help pay the bills. I'm still making the transition from pulling weeds, doing labor work, to handyman repairs. If you're new to the series, I have not been able to buy groceries ever before because I didn't have an apartment. I was just living out of the van. But man, do I feel like I'm balling with 2 full bags of groceries. And for the sweet, sweet price of $45. $9 in eggs, $13 in chicken. Chicken was kind of a splurge purchase, but it is actually, it's a fair amount of chicken. I'm excited to see how many days this lasts me. I think one of the things I'm putting on my habit tracker is to not eat out. So I'm gonna just stop eating out entirely. Previously, I was eating out every day, but when I was living out of the van, I didn't really know of a better way to do it because I didn't have a way to cook anything. Like, all of this requires a kitchen to be assembled and then also a fridge to be stored. Here we go. That is the LLC. Filing submitted. $50 for the fee. They should get back to me. I didn't choose the expedited, so it'll be within 10 business days. If my filing is successful, I will receive an email. If it's rejected, I will also receive an email. The only way that it would get rejected, I think, based off everything I entered, is if for some reason there was an issue with the name. But based on my research and what the actual official website said, since the previous business that had my business name had been more than 60 days not in good standing, which means they didn't file an annual report, the name should be up for grabs. So the only way for me to know is just to wait, and we'll see. Hopefully, crossing my fingers and hoping that I'll be able to be successful in it. So if you've ever heard of Nextdoor, a while ago I made a post. It was kind of preliminary research before I wanted to fully start this business, and I thought it might actually work to get some customers. So I like to play the organic marketing game. It's cheapest, it doesn't cost you anything, but basically you create a post on a platform like Nextdoor or Facebook that people engage with, and then you get thousands of people seeing your post. And so somewhere within the post, I just have tagged hey, I do handyman services, or along those lines. It's typically more subtle. I'll read to you exactly what I posted, and this has gotten me 3 clients so far. So my only other clientele were people that I converted from the weeding business to handyman sales. Typically they're customers that had a great experience with me with the weeding, and so it wasn't hard to sell them on letting me work on other things. Now, for my post, basically, I just asked the community that's on Nextdoor what they thought. I told them, hey, I'm starting a handyman business. I'll just read it. Hey, Ann Arbor folk, I need some advice. So we captured the attentions just with that first line, and then I go into a paragraph of the rest of the stuff. I'm starting a local handyman business for the Ann Arbor area and surrounding areas. I'm wondering what sort of repairs you guys think I should learn. Okay, so that's basic. That's the question. That's what I need advice for. Everybody reading till they're perfectly fine. Hopefully, at that point, they're getting some ideas of what problems they're facing. This is the part where I am very, very, very subtly selling myself. I say, I was wondering what sort of repairs you guys think I should learn. I already have basic skills like replacing electrical fixtures such as lights, outlets, and light switches. There's a lot to learn, and I'm hoping to get an idea of what Ann Arbor residents need most. Now, knowing that this, I just had a very strong feeling that this was going to get some engagement, and it got 31 comments, so it definitely got engagement. The amount of views, it got 5,000 views. But I figured out of 5,000 people, or out of the thousands of people that were going to see this, somebody was going to read that I can replace light fixtures and reach out. And in fact, I had 2 people reach out saying, hey, I can't afford a professional handyman, and I'd be willing to pay you a cheaper rate to like learn and work on my property. So I had 2 people reach out with that. One guy reached out wanting a light fixture swapped. I know how to swap light fixtures. It's not a super complicated process. I learned it working for my dad. But I've been able to subtly market, brand, and sell my service through an organic post. And that's what I plan to continue to use that. So hopefully engaging positively with the community, because now I'm built this brand. 5,000 people saw this. So 5,000 people saw like, hey, this young guy, he wants to know what the community needs. Now in a couple months or even a few weeks, I can post like, hey, started the handyman business officially. I can give the name, trying to figure out what repairs to learn next. And then maybe I give like a poll of like drywall or like a bunch of like 3 different repairs that I could learn, and whatever gets the most votes, I go and learn. And then I make another post like, hey, I checked in with the community. They said they wanted this repair the most. I learned it, taking service calls now. Boom. And now I have like all of my marketing is completely organic. Another method that I've used is DMing people on Nextdoor. But my problem with that is that I had to DM a lot of people. Response rates are low, and just the time put in takes a lot of work. With one post, I get 31 comments, 5,000 views. That feels efficient to me, and because it is. So I was able to get some clients from this, basically to launch the business. And so I swapped out a light fixture for a guy. I mean, it was like a day and a half ago, technically before the business started, but whatever. I was so busy that I did not have time to record like the intro video and start recording daily videos. But anyway, so I had to have that customer. I swapped the light fixture, which is great. And then he was like, oh, and I got XYZ. He gave me like 3 other things. So I was like, well, I don't know how to do these things specifically, but I'll do some research and get back to you. I literally just spent an hour and a half researching the items that he talked to me about. Sent him a message and some information. I was like, hey, I can, come over tomorrow. So right now I have him booked on the schedule for tomorrow. And that's where like, I'm not going to lie to people and tell them I know how to do something if I don't, but I'll tell them I know how to problem solve. And that's probably my biggest skill. So that's, I don't know. I think that's cool. So that's good. I have a few clients upcoming next week, and then this guy tomorrow for the business. So that's really exciting. I have to make money or I'm going to like not be able to pay rent. I mean, I literally have to make money. So this has to work, and it's going to, but this month of October, this first month might be kind of rough. Oh yes, and I would like to go to my habit tracker and add no eating out. I noticed it's kind of weird. I'm doing all anti-habits, things that I'm not going to do, which I find that kind of fascinating. Alex Hormozy, a business podcaster, he talks a lot about success, and he's like, it's more about the things you don't do than the things you do. So it's like, don't read gum, it's don't eat out. So it's kind of interesting. That wasn't intentional, but also we've successfully completed today of not reading comments, which would be... So at this moment, I'm not super stressed about getting customers and marketing. Right now, I have enough business and stuff to sort out on the back end side that I'm okay with spending a few days and not having a ton of work. As soon as I run out of like actual business stuff to do, so like tomorrow I'm going to look into our CRM known as Markate. But it's basically a way to manage all of my customers' information, schedule stuff, and follow up and everything. Anyway, once I run out of business executive tasks like working on the laptop and then I will start marketing. As soon as I have time to do the actual work, as soon as I run out of things to do, I'll just start marketing, and I'll need to do that to start making money anyway. But for now, it's just been those clients from my past weeding business, just being able to upsell them. And I haven't even gone through my whole contact list. I have I don't know, maybe 25 or 30 people that I've done work for. I'm just going to send them a text like, hey, starting handyman business, all-star handyman. And that's like a selfie with me in front of the van with a bucket of tools or something. And be like, hey, if you need any small repairs, hit me up. And we'll see. I might get some work from that. But for now, I have some executive tasks to do. I need to get stuff in order and organized, and then I'll start taking on work. All right, it's 1 a.m. I'm going to head to bed. Tomorrow's plan. Big thing I want to do is look into the Markate customer relationship management software. I don't exactly know what CRM stands for, but Markate, I want to look into that, see what's popping. Then I'll do some work, but otherwise, see you guys. Good morning, America. Today, Markate CRM. I want to be able to manage my customer information, follow up, book jobs. I might be able to send invoices and receive payments through this. I don't know what all I can do, but that's what I'm going to figure out. Okay, I forgot I had a few things. So I just, to do before looking into Markate, I just talked to my auto insurance provider. I wanted to look into getting property protection. So if the tools were stolen out of my van or apartment, that I'd be covered. I don't live in the nicest area, so I can't get a personal property protection plan until I turn 18. But as soon as I turn 18, I'm going to get insurance on my van tools. That way, if something were to happen, I'm not going to be set down to zero. I'll be covered, at least as far as theft goes. Then this other thing I wanted to do is cancel my Anytime Fitness membership. Now that I have an apartment, I don't need a gym membership, and if I cancel it, I can just save on my monthly expenses and reinvest in the business. Okay, got the gym membership canceled. Well, I don't like this at all. The gym industry is slimy. They lock you into a 30-day contract, so you have to give them 30 days notice. When you decide you don't want to use your membership anymore, it takes 30 days for them to cancel. So in this particular case, I'm going to be paying $50 for a membership I'm not going to use because I no longer need the membership. So I just called in and hey, I want to cancel. No, you have to wait 30 days and you have to pay the two. I don't know why that bothers me so much. It's just very slimy. And so I'm going to have to pay another $50. And I think when you enter the contract, you sign the papers and you're legally locked in. And they can pursue it like any other debt or like any other unpaid due. But that's not a cool system. I have mentioned it before, and I do not like that at all. But anyway, count my losses. I'll stop using gym memberships now that I have an apartment. I'll just buy a dumbbell rack for $50 and then never have to pay a cent to these companies again. Everything always takes longer than I want it to. So I went to start my Marquette account, and then it was like, what's your business email? And then I was like, well, I didn't set up a business email yet. So I've been setting up a business email. This uses the domain that I bought. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but I'll use that domain and then go through Google Workspace, where you can manage a bunch of emails. There's a lot of capabilities with it that I'm sure I'll be refining in the future. But for now, I have a Google Workspace email set up with my business address. So it'll be Ben at, and I'm at my business address. So that's cool. I'm running out of time here. I got to run to a job. So I might have to do some more research into this later. But it's just, everything takes a bunch of time to like, basically I just have to understand how everything works, and that all takes a second. It takes some work, but I think it's worth building a little bit slower and trying to understand how it all functions together, because you really have to understand how all the pieces work when I want to come through and start refining things and making things more efficient. I need to understand how these pieces fit together and work together to create the machine that is the business. And this is all just the back end side. I got the Marquette account created. They give you 14 days of free use. So if, just a brief description of what a CRM is and how it functions in a business. It's used to manage basically all of your customers, store data, track invoices, basically a management. In some ways you could view it as a business management software. I still need to look in. I've never used one before, but this one's I think $40 a month, and I think it's going to be really, really handy in organizing everything. So some of the ideas I have, you might be curious about where does he hear of, how did he figure out about this CRM software? How does he even know what a CRM is? When I first decided to start this business, I searched in Spotify how to start a handyman business. And since then, I've listened to 12 hours of podcast. There's this podcast that they interview successful handymen and give basically tips and tricks for people starting out. So that's probably been one of the most valuable tools that I've used, is just simply Googling it before even starting the business and listening to business owners talk about the different problems, the different software they use to overcome the problems. So like one of the big ones with being a contractor is showing up on time and doing what you say you're going to do. Having a good CRM really helps with that. But anyway, so they are helping me basically find all sorts of resources. There's also an online community. I haven't joined yet, but I probably will. It's called the Handyman Success Podcast. So I'm expecting it to be a really, really, really important resource. I can find mentors. When I have specific problems within my handyman business, I can look to there, and there's a bunch of people who have solved the problem already and have the solution. I just need to talk to them and get the solution and implement it myself. So I think that's probably one of the most valuable things I have done so far, is just going to that podcast and listening to people in the space talk about the business they're starting. One of the big things with this series is I want to capture not just what I'm learning, but how I decided to learn it. And because if you watch the series, you'll have a roadmap on how to build a successful business if I actually explain what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. So I have to, in these first couple weeks, explain some of the context, some of the things I've already come into the project with, and how I'm approaching it. Another thing I want to do in the future is get a Home Depot and Lowe's card set up, because they give points, and if I'm billing customers, billing them a fair amount for picking up materials, Just like today, I bought some supplies here for the job I'm running to. And some of that's going to be billed over to the customer. So I can earn points on their money, which I think will be worth it. And I also might make checkout easier because I can enter my, I don't know for sure what how the system works, but I'm gonna be running to that job. Might take some pictures before and after. It's a little bit, I've never fished wire through a wall, so I picked up some supplies there. I watched some videos, told the customer I've never done it, told them how to figure out how to do it. Seems to, I mean, it works. Telling people if they have confidence in your ability to figure it out, that's all they need. Not all of them. A lot of them will want to know you can do it and do it right and do it fast. But you're gonna pay 60 to 100 bucks an hour for somebody who's a professional. And with me, it's like, okay, pay 25 bucks an hour and still get, for depending on the repair, the same outcome, just a little bit longer because I have to figure it out. Alright, got that job done. Fixed, it was a washer. The washer lid.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Gulfside Road.
The washer lid latch switch broke. It had some corrosion. Cleaned the corrosion, re-greased it, or I put some dielectric grease on. Tested it with a multimeter to make sure it was switching on and off good, and then threw it back in, did a test cycle, and everything seemed to work good. At the light,
turn left onto Gulfside Road.
So that's very cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's literally Christmas morning in my mind. Looking at this CRM software, it's beautiful. 99% of the business side problems that I've had in the past would have been solved by this app. It has a very efficient system. You input a customer in, you can track your customers, you can track how much money you have. I'm just inputting some of the ones I have done recently. So even, and I'm still trying to learn how to use it, but they have a mobile app as well. So like, okay, let's go to right here. This is our sales tab. We have a list of all of our customers. I have 3 inputted right now. If I had started this a while ago, I would have 100 or whatever. I can see the source. Where did they come from? Because I'll put that next to each customer. These 3 are from next door. I have their phone numbers. I can do a mass text campaign. Say like, hey, just following up. Do you need any home repairs or whatever? And it's just like a big text, mass sending of text. If we go to work orders, I have a list of work orders. I can input all of this in and see how much work I have booked. I can see if the invoice is sent and created. I can see, hopefully I'll figure out how to get digital payment set up so they can pay from the invoice. So it's like the invoice is sent, then they can hit the invoice and it says pay here. This is called a pipeline. So you create a new job that's come up, you schedule it, you start it, you can pause it, completed, invoiced, withdrawn, closed. It's basically like the whole process, and you can manage everything so beautifully. And then it's also set up for employees. So if I were to bring employees on board, I can they can use this as well, and I can schedule jobs for them, leave specific instructions on the jobs. Just amazing. I just love it. It's almost 12:30 and I can feel it. Sleep is imminent. Mark 8. I like it. Tomorrow's goals. Continue to set up Mark 8. I need to register my van at some point. I don't know if I have everything I need to. I don't know if I need a Michigan license, but I'm gonna call in and see what I need to do to register my van. And then I don't know exactly what else I'm doing. I'm sure it won't take me very long to think of some things anyway. It's like, well,
your carrier is and send things from you. We have system generated ones that go out that kind of shuffle through, and it says in those notifications, you have a new estimate from All-Star Handyman. Please, to view this estimate, please click here if you have any questions, and it gives the 406 number because that's what we currently have in the system.
yeah. So much learning. I'm learning this Mercate software good. Some of it anyway. I think I'll start using it right away. I got all my upcoming jobs inputted in. It's pretty nice. I like the software.
To it. But I think just being able to say no to stuff when people ask you for it, because people ask you for stuff all the time. It's these little nibs, these little tiny things. Hey, can you do this? Or hey, can we show up to this thing? Or hey, you're supposed to. Or hey, your aunt did that one thing for you, so therefore you owe her. And saying like, I don't subject myself to those rules. And I had a New Year's resolution, which I do believe in making resolutions. Like, why not? If you stick with them. And so one of my more recent ones was there are no such thing as social obligations, only consequences. So you have no social obligations, you have social consequences. You don't have social obligations.
Got a key hook and a coat hook put up, looking organized. Now I'm gonna work on this blind. I got this from a weeding customer. It was $10 for new string. The string broke, but the hard part's gonna be figuring out how to restring it. I've never even touched a blind like this before, so we'll see. I can already tell this is gonna be kind of a nightmare, and I'm not finding any good resources online to try to restring this specific style. I'm gonna do my best. Well, shimmity wimmity. That works good. That's awesome. That's pretty much exactly how it should be. Yay, sweet. I hacksawed it, I crackhead jimmied it. Knowledge and experience bridges the gap.
Turn right onto Huron Parkway.
Knowledge and experience bridges the gap between where you are right now and where you want to be. I love that. I'm sure I heard it from somewhere, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. On the way to a labor job right now. It's gonna take most of the day, and then
Turn right onto Huron Parkway.
after the labor job, I don't know if I have anything specifically planned. I'm sure there will be something that I should do. I know I have a lot of work to do on the van. But yeah. So I just finished work for this customer, I worked with him the whole time. But by the end of it, he paid me, and then he was like,
Right onto Geddes Avenue.
"Can I buy you a pair of boots? Like nice new work boots, because mine are, getting worn out." And I was like, "I guess so." So he gave me $200 to go get new shoes, which is what I'm going to do right now. But that's, I don't know. It's so random, but I appreciate it. I think he takes like safety pretty. So these are the boots I picked up. They were $320 with mink oil and a mink oil, applicator brush. The store guy recommended applying it to the leather to keep it from drying out. If it dries out, it cracks and leaks. But I'm trying to figure out if it was worth the purchase. So I paid. Basically, the customer gave me $200. He said, if you don't buy shoes, give me the $200 back. Which, a bit of a weird situation there, but so I paid $120 for shoes, the oil and the brush. I don't know if that's the best financial, the best allocation of my resources at this point. I know it's something that I would have wanted to get within the next year anyway, and hopefully these will be really like long lasting, and they do like that lace system. Oh, there's nothing better than that. So the next thing on the list, I have poison ivy all over my arm because it's on my tools, and poison ivy lasts 3 weeks and it sucks. There's nothing you can do. There's some creams and stuff, but it's not good. It only helps so much. So I need to wash my tools before it spreads more all over me. This looks like what I need. Open till 11, which is cool because I want to buy some supplies. So I dropped my camera in the driveway on my way to go do the poison ivy stuff. I had no idea, so I wasn't able to film with my camera. I did take some video with my phone, so I may or may not have put that in the finished YouTube video, but I'm so glad nobody took the camera and I was able to find it. I was like, oh no. And it didn't get run over because it dropped in the driveway. A lot of lucky things there, but I got all the poison ivy cleaned out of the van. Wasn't actually too terrible. I just took a pressure washer. And then another thing I did, I threw up my chainsaw, my string trimmer, and my yard tools on Marketplace because I'm done with that. I'm ready to do fix-it stuff and start buying more fix-it tools. And so I'm just making space, getting a little bit of cash. Yes, very, very good. I just drove by a construction site that on my early days of like starting from nothing, when I was sleeping on the streets, I picked trash 6 hours a day in the sun for like a week. Well, it was like 4 days. 4 days straight. And I had to bike like multiple miles to get there. Anyway, it felt so good to drive by and just be like, I'm not picking trash again. I mean, I'm making way more money than I was picking trash. And so that just felt good. It felt like a progress moment.
At the light, turn left onto East Textile Road.
So I'm on the way now to a job. This was a weeding client that I've built a relationship with, said I was starting a handyman business, went over stuff like a week ago. I fixed some blinds, so I'm going to put that back up. And then she wanted a shelf installed as well. So doing those things right now should be good.
So this is 2 from the same newsletter. Output is all that matters. Value doesn't come from the effort you put in. I'm sorry, it doesn't. It doesn't come from struggle or your sweat or your tears. It doesn't come from your experiences. It doesn't come from how many hours you worked at or how many years you took to learn to do it. Those things may help you to put a price tag on what you need to compensate you, but that's not the same thing at all. You can dig holes and fill them in all day long, but all that effort isn't going to result in anything valuable. It comes purely and only from the demand anyone else has for it, which is often just something very subjective and irrational, which you have no control over. Someone dying in a desert values that bottle of water far more than the Mona Lisa. And that was Shannon Sands, basically saying that I think it's an important redress that you're talking about here for the type of...
I love that. Yeah, it's not really about how hard you work, it's about what you get done. Somebody else quoted, and I'm so bad with the remembering names, but somebody else quoted, I'm spacing it. It was such a good quote. Yes. So many people work so hard to get so little done. And I think that brings to point we have to really figure out what's important to be applying our time towards if we want to actually get stuff done. And I think that's been something that I'm still learning and probably will continue to learn, but what actually gets the thing done? One of the big realizations I made is that, listening to a podcast, talking about it, thinking about doing it, none of those things get it done. And now I have a lot more in my blood. It's let's get up, put our shoes on, and go scrub the poison ivy out of our tools. That's an example of something I really didn't want to do, but I felt like it was important to not keep spreading it all over everywhere. So, I don't know. I'm tired. It's been a long day. But I love it. Listening to something like this at the end of the day just fires me up. It's oh wow, I just worked so hard. And I am eventually going to be one of these podcasters that I'm listening to. At least that's the hope. I know I've been jumping around a lot today. I will put up photos of the 3 jobs I did. First one, I put up shelves. This was a weeding client that I was hey, starting a handyman business. Do you want some shelves put up? The second one, what was the second? Why am I tripping? Yeah, the second one was somebody I found on Nextdoor a little while ago. I did a great repair, swapping out a light fixture for him. And then he was hey, do you want to replace the thermostat? This one was a bit more labor intensive. I had to fish wire through the wall, do a bunch of research to actually understand how to swap the thermostat. And then the last one was working with this guy, basically doing exactly what he wants me to do. I have some older clients that basically want somebody young that can execute or help them do what they're trying to do. So I basically just look at what he wants, try to do exactly that. I found him from Nextdoor as well. So Nextdoor's been a good marketing. Whenever I'm bored or have a few minutes, I'll click on to Nextdoor and scroll, and that's how I find some of this work. This is the end of week 1. I don't know how many days it was, but every Sunday I'm probably just going to end the week. And I don't remember when I started filming. Anyway, so to recap this week, some of the big milestones. Learning Mark 8, the CRM software. I used it today to make a couple different invoices for customers. Really good, really professional. Has a lot of automation built in. Keeps a customer database of the customer full name, number, and address which is super handy when I'm booking a customer in again, because then I don't have to go back and find their address. It's already stored in the system. And then it also has it set up so if I wanted to get a customer service rep to take my phone calls, it's going to be set up really nice for me to just give her probably access to the Marquette area. And then there's a bunch of different features there, such as call forwarding, without going up into too much detail. Really good milestone. After that, some of the big things I've learned this week as far as doing repairs, I mean, I think the thermostat was one I can replace. At this point, I wouldn't say I can replace any thermostat, but I know the four different, like there's a certain set of types, and I know all the different types. I had to do a bunch of extra research, and that's one of the things I'm going to try to do when I'm approaching any repair here on forward, is I'm not just going to fix it. I'm going to understand the different variations, the different ways to fix it, the pros and cons of each variation, pros and cons of each way, the best tools to fix it. I mean, I literally, when I do repairs, like I swapped a light fixture for this guy as well, and the thermostat, I literally made a list of things that would make swapping the light fixture more efficient, and that'll also make me look more professional. But I had on there stepladder. I don't want to have to borrow a customer's stepladder. Wire nuts, because I didn't end up needing wire nuts, but it definitely could happen where I'll need to have my own wire nuts. Wire strippers for stripping the wire on the fixture. And then I think I had a few other items, but the point is not just to fix something, but also to learn as much as I can. What that's going to mean is I'm going to have to work slower, but I think it's going to produce a better result, and then also just develop my skills more. And okay, so I learned how to replace the thermostat. Some other things that I've learned. This thing, I have not been able to get this single thought out of my mind. I've had it in my mind for like 3-4 days now, and it's like the only barrier between where I am right now and where I want to be is how quickly I can learn the knowledge and the skills required to get where I want to go. That is literally the only thing stopping me. And what does that mean? That means that's the bottleneck of my progress, which means that's where all of my focus should be. And so I am hoping over the next several weeks, I'm going to shift my focus a lot less from anything that is not learning. I'll stop taking labor jobs. I'll start weighing whether I'm going to take a job or not based on what I'm going to learn. I'll be like, okay, this is too much. Like, the thermostat was a perfect one to challenge me. I haven't even replaced a thermostat before, but I took one apart and kind of did some research a long time ago, so I had a little bit of understanding. I did this, ran into a bunch of different problems. I had to fish wire. All of it I did research on, basically trying to compile the best resources and put it all together in order to solve the problem. So it was fairly challenging, but not too challenging. And I think those are the perfect projects. I want to keep taking on that level. I don't want to go too far where it's going to stress me out super bad. You don't learn good when you're stressed. Prioritizing that learning. Like, I want to, literally everything should be around what skills I'm learning. It doesn't matter how much money I make, because I'll make plenty of money if I can learn. I just need to fast track my progress. And so hopefully in the next few weeks, that'll become a big focus with everything. I might even start doing, like, every week, what are the big things I've learned? And then I might start specifically outlining, I might have how successful the day is based on how much I learned. So it's like, was today successful? And then I look at the things I learned, and that's the only metric. And I don't see a way I'm going to fail if I do that. Like, I just feel like I'm going to start moving faster and faster and faster, because my sheer knowledge intake and experience is going to grow a lot quicker than somebody who's focused on making money, only making money, and anything but learn. I just think learning the knowledge and the skills, there is nothing else. That should be the entire focus. Anyway, on that rant. So, in the business, I got registered as an LLC. I learned the different trademark, service mark, state and federal level. What else did I do? I called for insurance. I understand property protection. I can get insurance on my van, so if my tools were to get stolen, I would be covered for replacement cost. That's a huge one. And that's all knowledge. Like, okay, imagine I didn't understand insurance. I thought I was covered when I wasn't. I talked to the insurance agent. He said to be covered, you pretty much need to lock your doors. If I didn't understand that and really ask him a lot of questions and learn how the insurance, like property insurance on my van worked, or that specific insurance, I wouldn't know that I need to lock my doors. Now I know, and now I'll lock my doors. Now if my stuff gets stolen, I'm covered. So like, that's a direct example of where learning becomes critical. So I learned about insurance. Let me pull this up. I think I made $500 this month, and I'm using my CRM app now to track everything, and I might throw up some pictures or something at some point. Maybe I will in the editing. We'll just see how long I have. So let me see. This shouldn't be too hard. I've made a net profit of $375, and then I think I'm still learning the software, so I think some of that's going to be expenses. I have some expenses tracked, so I think it would be probably closer to $330 in the last week, which I will say is not the best, but I was learning, doing a lot of online work. We'll see. It's okay. It's a good start. It's something. For my first week, I'm okay with that. Yeah, and then next week, gosh, I need to start my residential builder's license. That'll make me a lot more credible when I'm going to do jobs, and I should learn a ton about code, about just everything. So I don't know if I'll start that in the next week. I wanted to start it at the beginning of October, so like a week ago, but I didn't have the money, and I still don't have the money. It's like $230 for the course. So we'll see. Maybe I can start that in the next week. I know I have a lot of jobs on the calendar from next door and weeding customers that now want handyman stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll have to lay out the plan better as I go, I guess. I just know I'm going to keep taking jobs, keep learning, and that sort of thing. Also, if you want to get in contact with me or engage with me, I do a live stream every Sunday, so I'm going to hit a live stream right now. It's usually typically evening, not a set schedule. I just work it in whenever I can because I'm doing stuff. I'm usually pretty busy. So if you want to ask questions and things, that's the opportunity to do it. It's been a good first week of the business. I'm excited. I'm excited going forward. All right, see you guys in week 2.